Hey there, this is DeadpoolNegative again. I just want to stop by. I'm working on more reviews, but I want to talk about briefly my thoughts on the Doctor Who 60th anniversary special, The Star Beast. The return of Russell T Davies to Doctor Who after 13 years, return of David Tennant and Catherine Tate to their iconic roles as the Doctor and Donna. I'm going to try and keep this quick. I mean, I could write a novel on this, but I did not like the Chibnall era. I sat through the entirety of it. It was bad. It was just generally bad. I can count the number of episodes I thought were generally good on one hand. I thought Jodie Whittaker was good, is a good actress, and there are times when she was able to work with what she was given, but she just never was quite convincing for me as the Doctor, especially as opposed to Joe Martin, who played the fugitive Doctor. And when that woman showed up, I'll put it this way: when Joe Martin shows up in the Fugitive of Jejune, that's the Doctor I want to watch. I'll put it that way. And I was relieved when it was over. I just think Chris Chibnall. Here's the thing. I think if the Master is the most interesting character in your run of Doctor Who, something's gone wrong. I did enjoy. There were parts of the Chibnall run I enjoyed, but again, it just didn't work. And personally, I always thought Russell T Davies would come back to the Doctor because his final line that he has the Doctor say is, "I don't want to go," even with all the misery that running that show caused him. He still, I could tell he still he had so much love with the character he would never truly leave. I um I always thought that was, as opposed to Stephen Moffat's final scenes with the Doctor, where he's like, "Well, this thing is killing me. I gotta stop." You know, Davies' last, and I would say one of the differences between Davies and Moffat is Davies has a pays attention to the pop culture world in a way that Moffat doesn't. And after, let's just say, a creative disaster that rammed the ratings into a ditch, it was time for a guy like Davies to come and reinvent his reposition is the right word, the Doctor for pop culture in 2023. But first, let's jump on the nostalgia train by bringing back David Tennant, who I think loves playing the Doctor probably more than any other actor on Earth in the show's history, and Catherine Tate, who is a wonderful comic actress. And so basically, the setup is the Star Beast. A ship crashes in the 14th Doctor, kind of rattled after his regeneration in the finale of Chibnall's run, finds himself in London and finds himself drawn to, of all people, Donna Noble. Now, I'm not going to explain why. Why? Because the show does that for you several times, but he can't reveal himself to Donna Noble and their adventures together. Her mind has been wiped. If she remembers, she will die. And Donna and her husband are still together. They have a trans daughter, played by a trans actress named Yasmin Finney, who I kind of felt bad for her. Well, because she doesn't really get to do much like except be. See, I can't really explain what it is without spoilers, but I kind of like Finney. Finney has a pretty good screen presence, but she doesn't get to do much except at the very end, which I'm not going to spoil because these are just quick off the cuff thoughts. I watched the special an hour ago. Um, and then there's a spaceship crashes at the same time, and the fact that this is such a bizarre coincidence is part of the plot. And what happens is the Star Beast pop. Well, and then I was kind of impressed. I saw this. The opening of the credits say by Russell T Davies, based on a story by Pat Mills and Dave Gibbons. Now, Pat Mills and Dave Gibbons wrote a story called The Star Beast, and it came out in 1980 in the Doctor Who Marvel Comics in the UK. And Davies does a rough adaptation of it. And even if and being a comic fan and having read more than one Pat Mills story in my life, I kind of figured out early on where the story was going to go. So this cute little alien called Beep, alien called Beep, who's from a race called the Meeps, from a race called the Meep, not the Meeps, pops out and immediately befriends Donna's daughter Rose, and basically the doctor Donna and Rose and Rose's husband and her mother, all the original actors all returning. They decide they are stuck with this Meep, and then all of a sudden, unit soldiers show up and alien soldiers show up. And so they're stuck with the Meep, just running all over the place, trying to figure out what's going on and why is this. And of course, the whole entirety of London is threatened once again. And so the good parts of it. I mean, David Tennant, he could play the Doctor in his sleep. He does do a not a. The idea is that the 14th Doctor is different from the 10th, and for the most part, Tennant is able to slightly, like, well, one of the things about Tennant's performance, like you could in the early years of his 10th performance, you can tell, like, I mean, he's one of the biggest Doctor Who fans on Earth. You could tell he really leaned into like the Tom Bakerisms. This performance seems more like, I don't want to say like David Tennant, but I've always actually I like David Tennant as an actor, but I've always found him more interesting when he's not playing the Doctor, and he's able to bring some of the qualities he brings to other roles to this Doctor, which I appreciated. There is uh, Catherine Tate is fantastic. I will say I'll give a slight light spoiler. This story is meant to fix the whole Donna. Let's just say this: at some point in the story, Donna does remember her time with the Doctor, and it's interesting because Tate is playing Donna one way throughout the story, and once she gets those memories back, it shifts. Like her performance shifts, and shifts in a way that I thought was really smartly done. And smartly done. It I wouldn't say it's like watching two different people, but there's a side of Donna you don't see in the opening scenes that shows up when those memories come back, and it's just Tate at her best. It's Tate, like she's just. I mean, again, like Davies spoke of how much he loves those actors and how much, and how this all came about partially because Tate and Tennant wanted to work together again and play those characters. I mean, so like some of the best Doctor Who moments were with Doctor and Donna. The Fires of Pompeii is a particular standout. Anyway, once that's like, and again, Finny, I felt bad because she doesn't really get much. Again, it's like I don't want to spoil it. I'll just say her character is. I don't. I'll just say I don't want to spoil it. And there's another act. There's another actress. I believe. I'm sorry. Their name is not coming up for me right now. There's the typical. Here's the new unit agent character, and it is played by an actress named Ruth Madeley. And this character is confined to a wheelchair. And Madeley's actually a lot of fun. Like, the character's confined to a wheelchair. And she has a really good. I actually found her more interesting. Like, of all the new characters we meet in this episode, she was actually the most fun. She was pretty unflappable. The Doctor's like, she actually says to the Doctor, if I meet you, I'll get a bonus. And I thought that was a really fun line. Because, of course, like, you work for Unit, it's only a matter of time before you have to deal with the Doctor. He said Unit. And she was very good. There wasn't enough of her, I thought. But of course, the big star of the episode probably is the great Miriam Margolyes is the voice of Beep the Meep, excuse me. Again, I don't want to give away too much about Beep the Meep, but like I said, if you've read a Pat Mills story in your life, you know exactly what the true nature of Beep the Meep is. And when you find out that true nature, Margulies, it's a fun performance. However, as it goes on, it also feels surprisingly slight for what's supposed to be a 60th anniversary special, because it's simply like, oh, here's London in danger again, and again, and I hate to do this because I hate to do this, but Davies gets really, really, really didactic in the closing moments of the show, where he's just trying to deal with all the not my doctor criticisms, and there's a whole sequence, a series of scenes in this episode that's just 100% meant to be a poke in the eye to the Gary Beeklers, the Balstreks, and etc. in the world, and while I would argue that annoying Gary Beekler is a laudable goal, it's also just tiring to watch. It's tiring to have my finger wagged at me over, like, I mean, there's a really, I thought really, there's the kind of joke like, let's prescribe this negative emotion to all to one gender, and isn't that funny? And I'm like, it's not funny anymore. It's just exhausting. But this is where we are now. This is I don't know how I can convince Davies that he doesn't have to keep hammering this, and I don't know how to convince the haters to stop. So it really just, it was just like, okay, yeah, I get it, like, I'm not one of those people, but at least I don't think I am, but I just don't need to hear this so thuddingly loudly. As But what are you going to do? These voices are the loudest, and trying to silence them would be wrong. But it's like, I don't like Gary Beekler either, Mr. Davies. I just But I don't feel like talking about it. It's very much okay, yeah, like, thanks, I got it. I got it. And so that kind of just casts a pall over the whole special, which, for the most part, is a lot of fun, but it's not, I don't think it's quite the knockout home run the show is in desperate need of. I don't think we're really going to get something super exciting and different until Shooty got was first full episode, and I gotta say, like, shoot, like, and I gotta say, I'd rather I want to see him, like, I want to see him, like, now, not at the end of not at the end of these specials, because he's a fun actor, and it's frustrating because I understand the need to draw people back in with these classics, but at the same time, I know it's not going to last. I mean, you can also see the seeds of Davies probably setting up another Dr. Donna tragedy, because the whole story is about getting those two back together to have fun adventures, and we're only going to, as far as we know, I should say, as far as you know, we're only going to see two of those adventures. So, but anyway, I would say that the Star Beast is good. It needed to be great, but I am excited about what comes next. I think, for the most part, it has more life. The Doctor feels more like the Doc has more life in the Chibnall run. The Doctor feels more like the Doctor than she did in the Chibnall run. And and again, you may think those jokes at the end are fine. I just was like, I'm just tired of that. And once again, and I'll be working on other stories soon, and working on other reviews soon, and I'll be back sooner or later. Thanks.